Do you like crossword puzzles? Well, good. You're gonna love this game. Let me explain. Once Upon a Line is an immersive narrative scratch-off game that is played through a campaign and is divided into chapters. Players will embody heroes of the story and help guide them through the chapters as they discover new words to scratch off. You can either play this solo or cooperatively with other players. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm giving you my first impressions of Once Upon a Time in a rapid fire fashion. This is an immersive storytelling game that is currently on Kickstarter, and it is a very unique scratch-off game. So let's talk about it. So what better way to explain this game than giving you a tutorial mission on how to play this game. So in this game, you are going to be getting a chapter which has a grid of destiny, which is what this thing is called here. On the back, it will explain what the setting is, what heroes are involved that you start with, and instructions to tell you where to start. So every chapter is going to have these arrow symbols here, where it's going to tell you the first word that you need to scratch off, like so. So my first word in this tutorial is dwelling. I take the dwelling card from the story cards, which you can see right here, which is represented by the first 3 letters of the word, dwelling. I take that card out and then I read what the card says. This card will give me clues of other words to search for in this grid of destiny to continue the story. Before diving in, let me explain what the grid of destiny has. The grid of destiny is made up of a starting point where the first word will be scratched off. The second part is the line of strategy, where penalties will occur when you go to renew your action tiles, or if you scratch off a skull where you're not supposed to. And there is a lock section where you're not supposed to scratch at all until otherwise indicated to do so. Now that I have my first word, I can use that word to help me discover new words that this new story card has given me. So now I'm looking for one of these 3 words. And I'll use these action tiles to help me discover that. And you can take up to 4 actions with each hero. Now there should be some clues with each word that you discover to help you find more words, such as different lines that represent a beginning of a word or an end of a word. So there could be lines or brackets. I'll just scratch off this D a little bit more so that you can see that better, because that should be the beginning of the word there for dwelling, and G there for the end of the word. So this is a line above this E telling me that this is an end of a word. So a word could be going up or a word could be going down. And the closest thing that this could be, it could be honeybee or this one as well. So I'm going to take my action tile and I'm going to guess it is the 5-letter word there. So I'm going to take my 5 action tile, and when I'm using an action tile, I must anchor it to a previous discovered word. So the arrow must go like this, and then I'll scratch off these next 5 squares to see if there is a word there. And so I discovered another word. So then I look through the story cards to see if I can find that word, to see if I can pull another card. And as I can tell, there is no word like that, so I must continue on with the other 2 words, colony and honeybee. So where could colony be amongst these 2 words? And this doesn't give me any new hints, because I don't see a new line. Once I am done with an action tile, I place it in one of these 4 action slots, indicating that I've used one of those heroes' actions. So I must continue looking for another word. So there's colony and honeybee. If I look for colony, it has an L in it, so it must be among one of these 2 lines. I've already used my 5-letter action tile, so I have to use 2 this time, and I must anchor to the word. So I must place the action tiles like this, as so it's anchored to the word. And then I would scratch off all the tiles until I reveal all of them, or otherwise indicated to tell me to stop. So now that I found colony, I would then take the next card in the story, indicating that that is colony. I'll then flip that over, and I can try to look for more words. Honeybee and bracelet. And you'll continue doing this, spending your action tiles, discovering new words until the story has come to an end, and you move on to the next chapter. However, if that sounds easy, it's not quite that simple, because there are red herrings in the game where it could give you words that are not necessary in the grid of destiny, and you could be going on a wild goose chase. Also, when you run out of action tiles, because you can only have 4 actions per hero, you must take a penalty from the line of strategy. Now let me explain what that does. So let's say I ran out of actions tiles to use by putting them all in my hero's tray. I then must scratch off a line of strategy and take that penalty. And there's about 3 different penalties that you can receive in this game. Some penalties will shrink your action tile so you can't use a long tile to discover a longer word. You must use multiple, causing you to have less actions. Some will trade in these from being a 5 to a 4, a 3 to a 2. And some will block your action trays, so even if you wanted to take 4 actions, well, now you only have 3 for that hero. Blocking it like so. And that is not everything to do with this game. Some of these heroes have talents, which are special ability tiles that you can use to scratch off more locations on a Grid of Destiny. And some of these chapters can get pretty big. As an example, you're definitely going to be using a lot more tiles to scratch off all these. Talent tiles are added to the hero board as soon as a talent has been completed, which are words that you can discover in this chapter. These tiles will help you prevent getting penalties and give you longer tiles to use to discover longer words. There's also an inventory list on every chapter to keep track of anything that you might discover along the way that you can use later on in the game, such as pallets, which is the currency in the game. Another thing I should quickly note are different zones in the game. So some of these words will have different colors on them: blue, green, or red. In order to discover a zone that is in green, if you accidentally scratch off a slot, then if you want to scratch off in that area, you must move a different zone by taking a penalty. Now you can only scratch off words that are in that next color zone. So even though it plays simple, it is not really that simple of a game. There is some certain spots where you have to take a guess and take a penalty and move on. It's also a brain teaser at times where you don't know where you should scratch off next because you are running out of spaces on the Grid of Destiny and you don't want to take any more penalties. There's clues in the stories to discover where you should scratch off next, and sometimes it does help to have someone that is helping you. So it's good at solo and it's good playing cooperatively because 2 heads are definitely better than 1 when it comes to those tricky spots. So why would you back this game? Well, if you're somebody that enjoys crossword puzzles, riddle solving, then this is definitely a game for you. It's all that and more with an immersive story. The only thing that I'm not too sure that I enjoy about this game is it definitely leaves a mess on your table when it comes to scratching off all of the ink off these cards. But besides that, I enjoyed this. This is a prototype, by the way, if you didn't know that, but I think this is definitely a unique game that a lot of people will enjoy. And I can see having a cup of coffee in the morning, playing this for about 10-20 minutes, it can easily be saved, packed up, and sorted away for the next day. If this sounds like a game for you, definitely check it out on Kickstarter. I'll have a link for it down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.